The lights in action.
We are on stage.
All right, we are on stage. So, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another EKC Construction Technology webinar. We're really excited to have Myte and as our other panelists here today to share a little bit more about embracing AI for digital transformation in construction. So without further ado, I will turn it over to our fantastic group here to introduce themselves. So let's first start with Ahmed with Myte. Please share a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Rock and roll. Hey guys, so my name is Ahmed Mikalash. For those of you who know me, thank you for coming on board here and listening to what we have to say. I've been a process engineer for most of my life, working in the steel industry. And one of the things I saw as an issue early on in 2014 was how disconnected the data was and how fundamental data was to any construction company. Because what is a construction company at the end of the day, outside of the labor erecting and the labor fabricating and transforming? It's essentially a data house, a pipeline of information between the different parties. And so early on, I started building processes to streamline my work and make my life easier, as well as the team that I was working with back then, Supermetal, across different departments. And I started Myte Group 2 years ago when AI came out, because when ChatGPT 3.5 came out, like the commercial version of the chatbot, to me it was like, whoa, we can speak to an intelligence that knows a lot of what you don't know. Now, when used correctly, it allowed me to bridge gaps in knowledge and do things that otherwise I would never be able to do. And I started my group to empower people to build their own technology, their own way, be in control of their tech stack, so that as we navigate this post AI economy, you're in full control over how you shape the way you interact with the environment around you, how you shape your own intelligence. And that's what we do at my group.
All
We help
right.
with the transition. Yeah.
Fantastic. There's so much in that intro. I'm like, this is going to be a really good conversation. Let's move on now next to Vince. Tell us a little bit about what you do, Vince.
Yeah, my name is Vince Hughes. I'm the owner of Steel Estimating Solutions. I've been in the industry since back in 1982. Um, I started the Steel Estimating Solutions back in 2012, and it was to help steel erectors transition into the digital world. And I had a product that I put out there called Steel Erection Bid Wizard. Currently have right about 400 clients that have come on board, help them transition to that digital world. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more later on about where we're going, so I won't jump into that story. But I'm excited to be part of this conversation and look forward to having a conversation with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to have you here, Vince. Next, let's move on to Victor. I know, Victor, you've been involved in one of these, I think, in the past, but tell us a little bit about you and what you're working on.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Victor Garcia. I'm the owner of Flawless Steel Welding. I've been in the steel industry since about 96. Started my own business back in 2011. Early on in my business, I knew the trade. I knew how to put up a building. And when I started, running my own outfit, I started bidding work. And what I was doing was I was going to paper plans. And it would take me so long to get bids out. And, as the estimators know, doing paper plans, it takes a long time. And I was like, there has to be a different way of doing this thing. And I went online and I went searching and I got introduced to Vince. He introduced me into the digital world. That led me on a big old trail of running my business. I went in from going digital, um, estimating off of digital plans to blue to BIM modeling, called ESTA modeling. Then it led me all the way down to my data. That led me to Microsoft. And what I was trying to do is I was trying to transition all my stuff from from Excel and all my operations and everything else. And I said, okay, how am I going to use AI to integrate everything like I did with my estimating? And I kind of ran into a roadblock using Microsoft and its suite. until I got introduced to Ahmed, and well, Vince introduced me to Ahmed, and I'm looking forward to continue to capitalize on my vision and continue to make this a concrete, especially with guys from the industry and guys that know what they're doing. So
Hmm. Hmm.
looking forward. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here, and looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, super inspiring to hear the paper to Excel to AI all in like one journey there. So amazing. And then last but certainly not least, Maria, give us an intro. I know you're up to some pretty exciting stuff in the startup space as well for yourself.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
yeah.
Maria Volchansky, I'm the founder of SiloIn. My background is I spent 15 years in construction, both working as a headhunter and talent acquisition. It kind of goes back to the point of scatter data. When I worked internally in talent acquisition, in order to find somebody for a bid or a proposal or like even a project gap, I would have to go through HR systems, Excel spreadsheets, call people, and it was just really frustrating because I would always revert to my headhunting days where it was a lot easier to locate anybody, like through platforms like LinkedIn. So what we're building now is, imagine a talent Google search bar that's internal to your company, and you can type in a keyword, and within seconds you can find anybody internally that has that skill, what project they're on, and what their availability is. And I'm excited to hear talk about data and how, AI can make it all more seamless.
Absolutely. Yeah. Data makes the world go round and powers the AI that we're all excited about. So fantastic. So before we get into more of the discussion, a note for the audience, if you have any questions or comments or just want to share a thought, please feel free to do so in the comments. We will be able to see it. If you have questions, we will be able to ask them live and get some feedback from our panelists. So it's a really great way to engage. So please, please, please do feel free to use that comment box. And then we do also see your reactions. So thank you so much for engaging with the stream. All right, so we're gonna dive in. I want to maybe spotlight Ahmed for a second. So your background is civil engineering, and then you transitioned at some point to founding Myte and focusing on AI-driven solutions. So how did that journey come about for you, and what was the motivation to kind of make that leap?
So I've always been in process optimization. So I've always built systems, connected data silos, streamlined workflows for myself, for my departments. I was a field engineer, streamlining how to control and manage field erection projects. How do we track RFIs, fabrication errors, issues on site, and link them to actionable data so that you can be protected when you're dealing with your client, telling, hey, what's going on here? Why are you slow? Well, I didn't have my crane from this time to this time, and this happened 15 times this month, and tracking that information in a way that was usable and easily referenceable. And then when AI came out, the transition was a very clear one to me. What I saw AI allow us to do was democratizing knowledge. And so when you have software developers who know how to code but don't have business sense, don't understand the industry or the problems they're trying to solve because they haven't lived it, they don't see it in their mind, and it's normal. They need to be paired with business people who do have that business sense, who do have that understanding of the details, and the devil's in the details, right? So they have that understanding. And paired together, they can try and come out with solutions like we've been seeing: expensive, long processes, a lot of back and forths, a black box sort of thing, because the business guy doesn't know how to code and the coding guy doesn't know the business sense, and they're trying to work together. And so, as a process engineer, I've gone through a lot of transformations as a field engineer to business development, project management on a large project in Newfoundland, Labrador, to finally director of estimation, where I streamlined the estimating process, the doorway to the steel industry from a fabricator's perspective. Holistically, how do I deliver, design, and build a steel job of 5,000 tons, 14,000 tons, 10,000 tons, and take care of the minute details around this project granularly? And how do we dial it in so that we can actually control it at a very granular piece by piece level and tie that out to an entire proposal that we give to a client? And so when AI came out, to me, that was the missing piece to everything. It allowed me to learn how to take my systems that I've built in Excel or my systems with simple macros and algorithms and take that now into an environment that was Dockerizable, controllable, deployable, movable, and automate even the iteration process of this. And the first thing that I went and ventured at and it was automating myself. So how do I, as a
Yeah.
process engineer, how do I scale myself as an individual? How do I offer what I did with Supermetal for 8 years and for Canam for 2 years? How do I productize that in a way that allows me to do much more with much less? And so I built Myte Cody. Myte Cody is a pipeline that takes unstructured, chaotic data of requirements and in real time allows you to draw out your flowcharts, build out your detailed granular roadmaps, and understand and have full visibility on what's required to build out your solution. And we go further internally with that, where we take it and build out our missions, distribute that work to our
Yep.
developers,
Yep.
code out our repositories, all with human in the loop, so everyone is visible on this. And this is an example to show what can we do with AI reasoning systems. It's a sort of a display of what is possible. And
Yeah.
that's how I got into it. It's just a passion of mine my whole life, and now I'm able to do it at scale, which is
Super
extremely
exciting.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for many of us, there's probably some point where we were like, "Man, I wish I had, 10 more of me just to kind of cover some of the projects that I'm working on." So, you said it best, like AI is the missing piece of the puzzle to kind of unlock those capabilities. So, thanks for kind of setting the stage there for us. I kind of want to also zoom out a little bit and maybe broaden the picture, pulling on something that you also said earlier, which is this post AI construction industry. But it feels like we're very much still in this transition phase. So, to anyone who wants to kind of comment on this concept, so how has the construction industry been evolving with the introduction of AI into our workflows and our processes? And feel free,
Victor,
anybody who has
you're
a thought
you're
on
you're
that.
in it.
Yeah.
You wanna talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I'd love to start it off. Obviously, Mike's working with things that
Your microphone, Victor.
Yeah, that was we could hear you, and then it cut
It's just
out
sort of like
all of a
died. Yeah.
sudden.
Maria, technically, you're in the space. You want to talk about how you're seeing your construction company's network sort of adapt to this?
I think there's two approaches to how we're adapting. I think there is, let's just jump in and let's just, sort of blanket AI across all of our processes and, ask questions and get the right answers that we're looking for. And then I think there's a bit of hesitancy on some companies, whether it's, for data sharing and where's my data going. So I think there's two sides to it. Um, in my mind, I think the companies that are doing it really well, they're looking at the current problems that they have now and where they're looking to be digital and where they're looking to solve solutions, and then saying, okay, here's the process, here's the flow, which part of it can we use AI to help us automate it, right? To solve a true issue or a challenge or to free up someone else's time in order to be more efficient and, use the resources that we have most effectively that we can.
Awesome. And let's try maybe one more time, Victor. Can you say something? Hopefully the audio's back.
can you hear me now?
Maybe move closer to your mic.
What about now?
That is better. Maybe try giving us a thought.
Well, my view is going to be coming obviously from a still contractor's view. AI is turning construction into more a predictive, streamlined game. What we were using and looking forward to continue to grow on the with the AI driven software and optimizing our processes and be able to flag certain issues on our buildings and when we're seeing even in the front end when we're estimating. Um, Optimizing is going to be our key thing in making sure that we're going to be able to be a contender. I know we're a smaller mid-sized contractor, but with the power of AI and automation, and also the scanning the drones, to something to bring everything together, like what we're about to do with AI, is going to be a game changer for not only companies like myself, but the industry in general. So, it's looking forward to going into this time, and with AI,
Hmm.
it's encouraging and exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. We can hear you, which is great. There's kind of an odd echo, but we'll work around it for now, but we can hear you. Awesome. So thanks for sharing that, Victor. I'm also curious though, like, so AI, we were kind of chatting ahead of time, like, yeah, sometimes AI doesn't always work. Like, there are considerations. It's just a tool in the toolbox. Things can go wrong with it. There are challenges. What are some of those challenges that come up when we're looking at, transforming how we work with artificial intelligence? And maybe I'll point to Vince to maybe comment on some of this.
Well, I mean, some of the things that I've heard comments were what happens when AI goes down and we got
Mhm.
everybody trained on AI. What's going to happen? They're not going to be able to do anything. And I mean, I guess that's a possibility, but it's also we have to ask ourselves, what happens if the internet goes down? What happens if the power goes out? We have to find how we're going to cope with it. And the reality, it's a possibility, but I mean, I don't know what else to say to it than that. That it is a possibility, but it's we're advancing and it's here. It's putting into all our products already, so it's being built into everything that it's around us. Whether we don't have a choice about it, it's here. So to take advantage of it as a company, I think it's a no brainer. I mean, that's my perspective on it.
Yeah. I hear the phrase frequently that professionals who use AI will quote unquote replace professionals who don't use AI. And it's not necessarily the AI that's going to kind of take over. It's really just people being smart about using this tool. I'm curious to know from the group's perspective as well, like why is it crucial for construction companies to adopt this new tool? Especially with, some of the fear of like, oh, it might take jobs or it might be risky or whatever the case may be.
You guys want me to go?
Go.
Take it away, Ahmed.
Yeah, no, how do you say it? Like I want to stress. We use the term AI a lot. I like calling it more digital intelligence. Why? Because it sets the proper framework through which to look at this. We have access now to, there's a variety of sources, but we have access now essentially to a digital brain, a brain that knows everything, a brain that has seen millions of examples of practically every solution. What it's missing now is deep domain experience. What it's missing now is like the actual problem you're looking to solve. It knows all the problems, it knows most problems. It just doesn't take action by itself. It requires orchestration for now. And so we're at a sweet spot right now where, for one, this digital intelligence has to be harnessed, has to be used. It's not a choice. It's really like electricity, like the internet. It's you use it or you end up using it and you be the late one to use it, but it's a fundamental infrastructure. And in my view, this fundamental infrastructure allows us now to be fully in control. And what I mean by that, as a business owner in or having been in high roles in the steel industry for a decade, one of the major issues that I saw personally, that not a lot of people maybe shared that view during the time I spoke of it, but it's the fact that we're not in control of our technology. It's a fundamental problem. The fact that we're not in control of the flow of data, the fact that we're needing to provide more and more data, more and more output. Clients are more and more demanding. Proposals are more and more data
Yeah,
intensive. Everything
absolutely.
is just more, but the resources we have are remaining the same. We're having hard times finding experienced people in key roles to manage this vast amount of information. You put a PM with no knowledge, he's going to get swallowed up on a job site like in Newfoundland, Labrador, in a hydroelectric dam. He's going to get swallowed up in a T&M material contract without seeing the full picture of all this information that's being created in real time. And so the way I'm seeing AI, it is a fundamental infrastructure piece for every business. It's a new current. It's a current of intelligence that you have to plug yourself into. It's not a choice anymore. And now, from that perspective, there's no how this how construction companies should be looking at this. you use it and plug into it, or risk becoming commoditized. That's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to. You have to use it, or you will become commoditized as an entire business. Because if you're a steel fabricator who is not plugged in, you're going to become literally irrelevant compared to the network of fabricators who are plugged in. And this is the same for every single industry. And so it's actually very urgent. It's actually something that's very, as a business owner who wants to succeed in the future, as an individual business owner, should be looking at AI as holy, I need to, I need to get on this right now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to get on this a month ago. I need to get on this a year ago, because the capabilities of AI, how everyone I think now are starting to see, oh my God, this is great. The chatbots are getting better. But the reality is, we've had this for years now. And we've had it commercially for a couple of years now. And people have been
Yeah.
taking it out of the box. The chatbots is one thing. ChatGPT, Microsoft Azure, Gemini, those chat interfaces is one thing. But you take that out of the box into an environment that you control. Now all of a
So
sudden, there's no limitation. The imagination is the limit.
yeah, I want to pause there. I think Victor, I saw you like concurring. Wanted to hear a couple thoughts from you. Having also, been through already, one digital transformation journey, going from like paper to Excel, or whatever it is, and then also making the leap now to. I love the way you put it, Ahmed, digital intelligence, right? So, yeah, share some of your thoughts with us.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, loud and
Okay, good.
clear. Perfect. Yeah.
All right. No, what I'm looking on what's going on right now is I'm not looking at it as just tech. I'm changing the way that like Ahmed said, the way that you're going to be doing business. Um, Knowing that we're a small contractor, we wear many hats, and what sets us apart from the average guy, every business says I'm the best, every business says I'm the fastest, every business says that I'll get it done on time. But and they're number one. But we're all saying the same thing, but what's going to set us apart is, are you going to use your data to maximize the flow of your business and to optimize on schedules? Can you really give a concrete answer to a solution real time? And using your data and using the stuff that we have in place right now, it's just going to maximize of our, kind of, I want to call it our superpower. Using AI, we have people coming into the industry that doesn't have a lot of information or
Hmm.
doesn't have a lot of education or experience. But
Right.
within a couple of years of adapting to this, they're going to be able to do laps around people that's been in the industry that's not adopting this kind of technology. And like I said, just don't look at it as tech. I think it's a mindset. Are you going to adapt to something? Are you going to be left in the Stone Age? And like here at Flawless, um, I'm always looking on how to get better, how to set us apart, and how to really be a client. I mean, an asset to our client, and
Hmm.
to really say we are the best, we are the fastest, we do save you money, we can beat the schedule, and then give them concrete evidence of saying this is why we're the best. So it's
Yeah.
interesting on how this shift of technology is coming into the industry. It's finally starting to come up. Construction's been so behind in the industry, or in software period, but with the automation, with the BIM modeling, and now with AI optimizing everything, this industry is really going to be a very exciting way of doing business and building buildings in this country and across the world.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing. So well said. And I'm kind of jumping around here a little bit, but what you touched on, Victor, is like the labor component of this whole thing, and I kind of want to get Maria's input on workforce, since that's what you focus on. So, what are your thoughts on the impacts of these technologies, and the ability to accelerate workforce learning and capacity and deliver, in theory, higher quality projects?
For sure. So I look at it twofold, right? I think there's an opportunity to use AI to obviously map the skill inventory of your
Hmm.
employees and our workforce, right? There's a really strong opportunity to figure out where are those skill gaps are, Where can we use more training? And I think once we can map that, then we can start looking at AI from two different ways. We can look at it first off from automation and robotics. If we are going to have a shortage in a specific area, then maybe there's an opportunity to start investing in that particular space to develop robotics to supplement that. But the other component is with the amount of data that we're feeding into the AI systems, there's also an opportunity to create something which we're looking to do is essentially like a personal coach, right? So you have something that's like a co-pilot that allows you, to like kind of answer your questions and so forth. But in order to enrich, younger generations that are coming in or where we have those gaps, you create something like a personal coach where it sort of hints to you on things that maybe you should think about or something that you have potentially missed or even if we're going to get into the VR or on the job training for trades, there's an opportunity to do something. You kind of take a picture and it walks you through how you should potentially address the challenge on site. So there's so many different ways that AI can really or digital intelligence can really supplement where we're missing and kind of where we're heading towards.
Wow, yeah. I just imagined like a sports team, but a construction coach, like coming in and training up the sports team, and it's in this case it's like project engineers on how to like grow into being an effective PM or super or whatever the role is. What a
Spot on.
visualization there. Yeah. I'm so curious for our audience members if you have any interesting use cases of AI or any thoughts on some of this. Let us know in the comment in the chat. Would love to get your feedback. So we do have at least one that says AI and digital transformation are definitely shaping the future. 100%. Thank you for that comment. So yeah, just a reminder, use that chat function. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking as well. So I want to talk about, so we have a lot of tech providers here on this panel, and there's a whole debate for construction companies when they want to get technology but are kind of figuring out the right path to do so. So it's the whole debate of build versus buy. So do you build your own in-house solution or do you buy something that's on the market? Curious to know what are the pros and cons of each? What are the advantages or disadvantages that you have seen out there?
I can start this off if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, take it
I
away.
have so many different islands. I call them islands. I have my estimating, I have my project management, I have my operations, and I have my accounting. All different softwares, and none of them communicate together. So what we're doing is we're taking from one island, we're taking the data from the other island, we're taking the data, and then we're going to old school and taking it right back to Excel. I'm like the amount of time that we're doing this, we have all these different out of the box softwares, but in the long run, I'm saving time on the front end, but I'm spending way more time on the back end. So the in-house data with Ameto is like bring this all together and how it communicates together to get it flowing and get my work processing together as a unit, not islands. Um, for me, it's in-house is because of that. It's how you control your data and how do they all communicate together.
Amazing. Yeah, I think the concept of the islands or like data silos, right? Essentially is a huge problem in construction. And the takeaway that I just got from that, Victor, is like, yeah, the industry as a whole is siloed, but so are our own internal processes just within our own companies, or even just a project. So the island effect kind of goes down so many layers, and
Can I
like
ask him a
technology
question?
really helps. Oh yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Victor, like what made you see that shift? What clicked in your mind that's like, yeah, okay, I'm spending, $10,000 here a year on that and $50,000 a year here on that and X amount of money on this and it's all decentralized and I'm spending so much time inputting data anyways. It is faster, but I'm still spending a shit ton of time. Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing. A
It's
lot of
okay.
time connecting everything. What happened in your mind that you're like, I got to just build this myself? Can you talk about
Yeah,
that? You started
absolutely.
that, yeah.
what finally clicked is I have so much data, but how do I utilize it? You know, I have, you know, I have data coming in from my project management on production. I have my accounting over there with cost accounting. I have my timesheets for keeping track of my labor. I have all this data, but how could I use it to benefit me as a company? I can, as silos, use my cost accounting to track my hours through every job, but it takes it's labor intensive to really try to take all that data and utilize something in a spreadsheet to make it fit on your next project. So that what kind of got me. I was like, you know what? There has to be something. There has to be a way. And when I found Copilot, and I was like, here's the answer. Now I can make it read my files, take my data, and give me the information I need. Then I found that was kind of, maybe I shouldn't be naming names or anything, but I kind of found that, like I dealt with my accounting. Um, I was using QuickBooks. QuickBooks was an accounting software that was try to cover a mass amount of different kind of organizations and different kind of trades and different kind of companies,
And
but it didn't
many people
specialize
do
in just
use
my construction.
them. Yeah.
So, that's what I'm thinking now with that is I need to find something that specializes in my industry, but not only my industry, but how I adopt and do business. Because my business not will not be the same, or could be principles, but the way that we do things could be different than the other guy. But if I
Something
have
that
control of how I
understands
do
your
things,
reasoning,
I want to do
essentially.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, really great perspective. I feel like for myself as well, I'm usually in alignment that if there's a process that is specific to your business, your industry, and there's nothing really that is on the market that's going to solve it, like 100% go for it, get your own internal tool. It's going to serve you better than something that you're trying to force, a square peg into a round hole, right? But I kind of want to wrap up the build versus buy and also talk about like the buy side of it. So, Vince and Maria, I'd love to hear your perspective, especially on solutions that are a round peg for a round hole, and it's already got a beautifully packaged product. You've thought through all the processes and workflows that the solution needs to have in it. I'll take the estimating example, right? Like I'm not about to custom create an my own estimating platform when there are so many good ones out there that are made for the industry. So tell us a bit more about the pros and cons maybe of the buy experience, getting something off the market.
Well, for me, I'll just jump in there. Just
Yeah.
how I met Ahmed. I just kind of want to tell that story a little bit because build versus buy, it plays into that. So about a year ago, I mean, I've been doing digital takeoff since 2001. So I've been a technical guy. Technology has been my thing for a long time. If you look back and think about it, in 2001, a steel erector doing a digital takeoff was probably pretty unheard of. So
Mm-hmm.
about a year ago, Ahmed reached out to me, and he said exactly what Victor said, that there is no software. And when we were talking, and I started listening to Ahmed and realized that he's in my industry, he spoke my same language. I got very intrigued with what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Look, man, my software is a steel erection bid wizard. That's for price and steel erection. That's my only thing that I deal with with my software." And Ahmed, brought to me and tell me what he was doing. And he was saying that there is no one system that covers everything for the steel industry. And I thought, you're right. So we had a few meetings that went on and with different companies, and things never went through. And then the CEO of Impact from the Ironworkers Union had reached out to me and was looking for an AI. Somebody knew something about AI, and I remember Ahmed. And this was 6 months later because our conversation kind of fell apart. So I reached out to Ahmed 6 months later, and what he showed me he'd done in that short period of time was just it blew me away. Because in the beginning, I thought he was crazy. I thought, I thought, and that's pretty amazing, but I didn't think it was real, to be quite honest. And then 6 months later, just a short period of time, 6 months later, he comes to me and he shows me what he's done. And so I went back to Kevin Hilton and said, I got you guys. He was looking for a guy to speak at the Ironworker conference that was end of February. And so Ahmed come on board with us. He came and spoke at the conference and gave a really great presentation. But what I'm seeing when Ahmed showed me what he's doing, I sell a software. That's my life. Still erection bid with. What he showed me what he's doing with AI and how he can create systems, AI systems that's going to do everything from end to end. The cost to do that, the time it takes to do it, it becomes to me it was a no-brainer that I see
Hmm.
the software as a service is what I was providing is going to go away because AI is going to come in and be able to build my system for the complete package that you may need from end to end way cheaper than what I cost just for my one little program. And so when I seen that, it's like, okay, well, it's time to look at a different vision of what I'm going to do in the future because AI is here whether I like it or not. So I want to jump on board. And with a guy like Ahmed and his ability and his knowledge with the steel industry, seemed like an amazing partner to team up with to see how we can go and revolutionize the steel industry, to be quite honest with you, because that's what AI is going to do. And I'm so happy with Victor coming on board with us as well, being one of the first clients that's going to build, because he was one of the first clients for me on the Steel Rex Bid Wizard back in 2012. So, I mean, it's just, I'm, I'm fully on board with what AI can do. And whether it's better to build or buy, it's going to be pretty self-evident within next, I'd say within the next few months, because AI is
Yeah.
increasing so fast.
Yeah, it's such an interesting point that you make there because as time goes on and the technology gets better and better and better, I think it pulls back to this idea of democratizing the data, democratizing the workflows. Like anybody can kind of leverage the tool and plug into it. So, yeah, I kind of see it as like a function of time of, how
Exponential.
yeah, how much more we're gonna prefer like just getting something that's really specific for us. But Maria, any last thoughts on this topic? And then I'm gonna go to some of the questions that are coming up in the chat.
We can do the questions. I think we covered. I think maybe one thing that I will say is in terms of build or buy, there's there's the build where you build it yourself as a company, then there's the build where you hire somebody to build it for you, right?
Hmm.
And then there's the generic buy. I think we spent a lot of time in construction buying a lot of point solutions, and that's where you
Yeah.
got a lot of those islands and a lot of the disconnect
Mhm.
between the data. I think when it comes to AI, I think as a company, it's important to build the processes and the workflows that we want to do. But having built products for my own company, I think it's usually best to hire somebody, especially on the AI component, to build it out for you. So, but it has to be a direct partnership and it has to start with what are we trying to solve? Like that has to be clear and concise.
Yes, understanding what you're solving 10,000%. I can't tell you how many times I've encountered teams being like, "Well, we want to do innovation," and so it's like, "Well, why?" Understand that first, and then you'll see some of the benefits later on. Yeah, so good. So we have a good comment and question from Richard. AI is only as good as the data that feeds it. What are your thoughts on the quality control required to make the outputs of AI useful, accurate, and consistent? Such a good question. And feel free, any of our panelists, to jump in and take this one.
I'm going to, well, can we do a quick demo so they can actually see it? It takes 15 seconds.
Yeah, you can. There's a share screen button at the bottom of the
Perfect.
window. And if it's a live demo, I'll cross my fingers for you.
It's a live demo. Yeah, it is a live demo.
Right. Well, ballsy. Let's see it.
Let's see it. All right. You guys see my screen?
It's coming through. Let me see if I can make it big. Oh, hold on. Not that way. There we go. All right. It should be coming through now.
Okay, let me try the transcription because I am on the call. That might not work, but if not, we can type, and that comes into the point of how you can build systems that adapt to your condition. Do you want to speak? Do you want to type? Do you want to review your data? Where are the verification steps that you want to put in place? And this is what happens when you start taking it out of the box and start to you're having fun with that. When you take it out of the box and you want to start controlling your reasoning systems, controlling the flow of intelligence.
So, Ahmed, before you get a little bit more into it, for me and maybe some of the audience, could you just give us a quick explanation of what this is? So, this is an interface. You're going to prompt it
This
with.
is right now an interface. So you've got cost codes where you're on the job site, and you've got cost code associated to activities. And here's an example. You've only got here 8 cost codes, but you can have hundreds of cost codes and control the cost codes that you want. You've got a team, and now from the perspective of a foreman, you want to create a timesheet, a cost coded timesheet.
Mhm.
Because when you're tracking costs in the field and the data around activities that are happening, the best source of information is the individual, the worker who's actually doing the job. And so, can you imagine? Hey, Nikki and Bobby worked 10 hours erecting today. Spider was absent. I don't know what happened to him. Beck spent 5 hours painting. And just like that, your cost coded timesheet gets created properly with a verification step for your foreman to make sure that the data is correct. So give it a few seconds here. Boom, Nikki and Bobby worked 10 hours with the logic of simple time over time. If I would have said 12 hours, we would have had double time. Totals, meal tickets triggered because on an industrial site, sometimes there's meal tickets. So you can have any kind of reasoning you could build. This is just an example. Absent, 0 hours. And Martin spent 5 hours on painting. And now this kind of reasoning system, just with the click of a button right now, I didn't even have to edit the data. But boom, I've got my timesheet of what we just did. And you can imagine now linking that to payroll, linking that to daily field reports, linking that to pick lists, linking that to every single data point that is needed on a construction site. And the time it took me to build something like this is extremely quick. The time that companies will take to build something like you just saw here will be very quick as well. With the tools of AI, you can create workflows that are at the snap of a finger. I'm going to stop sharing. There's many other things that I can showcase, but
Mhm, mhm.
the idea now is exactly that. How do you take chaotic data and pipe it through into something that's usable, trackable, auditable, verifiable? And then how do you go and build your custom tech in a way that you have confidence in what's about to happen, that you have visibility as to what you're going to build? And so that's the main problem that I saw, and the problem that I set out to solve with my company is how do I connect chaotic requirements that is specific to each business and unique to each job site and unique to each company and pipe it through a system that allows the client to be in full control, fully observable of what is happening, what's going to get built, how long it's going to take, what it's going to cost, what's the progress, what has happened, who did what,
Mhm.
uh, and be in control of their code base as well and the full end-to-end solution. How do I make that a possibility? And that's the beauty. Now that you can imagine it, and I've always said, if you can imagine it, it has been, is, or will come to be. And now with AI, we are literally creators of our own realities in a way. And if you can come on board with a team of people that see it, like for example, Victor, like for example, Vince, Maria, who was a past client, who see it, um, you start reshaping reality. You start
Yeah,
reshaping what's possible around you, and yeah. So
yeah,
it is
yeah,
only as good as the data that feeds it. So the data, the best source of data is where the best source of data ideally would be your foreman, your superintendent. They're on the field, or the best source of data is the field engineer that you trust that's going around to check the data. But the time it takes to take that visual observation into usable information, that time takes a lot of man hours. That
yeah,
time is extremely time consumption. And now we can just speak it directly from your brain into your database and directly from your database into subsequent steps. And
yeah.
that's what custom reasoning systems enable us to do.
That was such a super powerful example to share. So thank you for, being willing to go on the spot and just do that. I've seen the timesheet process, done the traditional way on paper, and it's really hard to get people to submit it. Nobody wants to submit their timesheets. It takes
100.
forever. It's a bajillion phone calls, and wow, that was so simple. Literally, like 10 seconds, boom,
Just to point
done.
out,
Vince, go ahead. Yeah.
that could be done in any language. So you could have a Spanish speaking foreman speak into the app and it will translate it into English. So just
Hmm.
to throw that out there. or
or
Chinese, or whatever language you want it to be.
so Myte Cody to take in chaotic requirements. So whatever it is that you wish to build, you can speak it in any language right now at mytecody.com, in Arabic and Spanish and Chinese and English and French and whatever you want. So we make sure that we understand exactly what it is that you need. And you can do it yourself. So what I've built with Myte Cody, you can spend the time building it yourself. I'm all about that. Take control of your technology. Don't depend on Myte Cody to plan your projects if you don't want to. You can use a tool that's out there and get it planned out. Myte Cody just provides observability. All it is, it's a tool that acts as a channel between existing fundamental AI models and a workflow that you wish to enact and create. It's just a conduit. But you can create your own conduits. You can create your own systems that you wish to put in place into your companies. You can actually be in full control entirely, end to end, of anything you want to build and not even hire someone. Hiring someone just makes things go much quicker. That's all it comes down to. Hiring someone to do your bathroom, renovate your bathroom, change your toilet seat, wire your electrical wirings in your new kitchen that you've installed. You can do it yourself. You can absolutely do it yourself. It's not complicated. Changing a toilet takes 2 hours. You can do it yourself. Buy the toilet, take out the screws, put it in, and get it done. But most people, they're going to hire a plumber that's going to
Yeah,
come and do
in
that
my
job.
mind, I'm like, ah, there's no way I'm doing that myself.
Even me, like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah,
Changing
yeah,
a lock is not complicated. The
right.
lock on a door, but you're going to call a locksmith to get that changed for you because they're going to do it quickly. They know they have the tools, they got the stuff, like they know what they're doing. So that's where I'm seeing you're going to be able to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, you can do it.
So, so kind of building on that and also tying it back to Richard's question, quality control, needed to make AI super useful. I think somebody said it earlier. It might have been you, Ahmed, but the concept of human in the loop. So we're not 100%, just blindly trusting these AI tools. I usually like to use the term trust but verify, which is something from the industry.
Yeah.
You trust that the work's going to get done, but you got to go make sure that it's done right. It's per the specs and drawings. Like, you are the experts. You need to double check it. So let's talk about the human in the loop. Like, what does that mean when we go to use AI tools? And anybody, feel free to jump in as well.
The human in the loop aspect, it's more from a principle. I don't like automating judgment. Judgment, I'll give a concrete example. Autonomous cars are here. So I know there might be different opinions or views around it, but autonomous cars are here. Fully end-to-end autonomous vehicle that you get in will drive you anywhere you want without a human in the car. And the significance and impact on just the transport industry is immense. The cost of travel will just drop to pennies on the dollar. And the significance and meaning of that is just incredible. And I'm all for it. But if an autonomous vehicle, a good example out of San Francisco, girls out of a club came out and went into a Cybertruck, or I think it was a Tesla, or one of the Waymo stuff, autonomous vehicle. They get
Some
into
autonomous vehicle, yeah.
and it gets into a red light, and guys come to the vehicle trying to get in and with bad intentions. Now, normally, if you're the driver, you just drive on. The red light comes, and maybe it's red light, and you just drive because there's no cars around. You get the hell out of there. But because of the mechanisms in there where they automated judgment, that vehicle just stayed put because it didn't want to put in danger the humans that were touching the vehicle outside. Human in the loop would have meant that those ladies could have overridden just by a simple voice command and say, hey, get the hell out of here, I'm in danger. And the vehicle moves on. That's the judgment part. Judgment should remain in our control. People will attempt to automate judgment. People will attempt to completely and automate everything end to end. And they may succeed in many cases, especially for coding. They may succeed. Not may, they will succeed. They will.
Yeah.
The reality is they will succeed. The knowledge work we currently do today, and that's just a reality, everything that we currently do today that we know of are known knowns and are known unknowns. That will just fundamentally get transformed and reshaped in how we work. But the things we will be able to do in the future with human in the loop systems, the kinds of mega projects that we'll be able to undertake, the kinds of societal transformations, the kind of economies we'll be able to build and reimagine, reinvent from grassroots or from government perspectives, these sorts of mega projects, which will make our mega projects today look like peanuts, the same way China makes our mega projects look like peanuts. It'll make China mega projects look like peanuts. The things that we'll be building in 20 years from now. But we need the human in the loop for that. We need to be in full granular control over everything that's going on.
There are many like fine lines, maybe not so fine, but like many important lines to distinguish like this is better for a human, this is better for you know, computer AI to
And
do, and I
ultimately,
think that ties
you want
back
the
to like
human to make that judgment. You know,
the
you don't want the
big
machine to
ethical
be
concerns.
responsible
Yeah,
for it. Yeah.
yeah. Any other thoughts on that, Vince, Victor, Maria?
I kind of want to talk a little bit about, the data that it feeds it, right? We talked about the islands. I think one of the biggest challenges in construction that not only that our data lives in different silos or islands, is that it's really hard to standardize it. It's really, like I may write street ST, somebody may write street fully out, and it's really hard to bring all that data together, right? And I truly think the power of AI and where, we can look at that, not build, but sort of like build for yourself, is having that opportunity to use AI to actually standardize the data that is being fed from all the different sources or all the different data that we have. Because when you think about it, if I'm an estimator and I'm using an estimating bid, or if I'm HR and I'm using an HRS system, like those are the sources of truth for me, right? And I think we're always trying in an organization to reconcile the source of truth or what's going to be that one sort of specific piece. But each team and each department has its own source of truth and it's accurate. We have to believe it's accurate because the companies are functioning, right? And we're making revenue and money. So AI has the opportunity to take all of these multiple little sources of truth and to actually create, it's going to like a pond that is full of accurate data, right? And if you're using AI internally versus, kind of outsourcing it to ChatGPT and using external systems, you do have the quality control that's in there because it's your data. It's what you rely on a daily basis. And if you're using it in a way to solve and address real problems, or not real problems, but problems that you've established that you're trying to solve through it, then it is accurate and it has the control over it versus kind of like, putting it out there, be like, oh, if I was to estimate on this hospital, like what would be the estimate?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So insightful because I think the industry has been limited for so long because we haven't been able to standardize for various reasons. Everything's always a little bit different. But with these new tools, we don't necessarily now have to be so, hardcore about scrubbing data. Your example of like street versus, spelling it out versus ST. I come back to the gosh this problem in every organization I've ever come across where there are at least 3 to 4 different names for the same project, and it's called something different in pre-con, and it's called something different in construction, and it's called something different by the owner, and then it's called something different by marketing. So, but yeah, now we don't necessarily have to limit or have that limit of we're a non-standard industry. We have a lot of things that just are really challenging to do consistently, but we're removing that barrier with technology. So, yeah.
Can I
And
kind of?
from, oh,
Oh, yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
Good
No,
good
go ahead. Go ahead, Maria.
conversation.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say one thing. Like, for example, for us, we're looking to standardize the employee data, right? So you have data in HR, you have software, you have spreadsheets, you have project schedules, you have daily logs, right? And really, it can be different across all of those different things, but there is a common denominator, right? It's really about finding that common denominator and then using AI to ensure that all the information that pulls in is usable from all these different systems. So I think there's lots of an opportunity to use AI to standardize some of the things that we're doing and then be able to ask better questions. And sorry, go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah,
No, no,
this is
I was
good. Good.
kind of piggybacking off of what you guys were saying, but kind of bringing it back into the field. It's not only the data that we have in our company, but also the data that we need to be following. AISC has codes. There's or AWS for welding codes. If there's an issue, how fast would it be to say, hey, I have this issue. How could I fix it? And it gives you all the specs everything that needs to be done, and then you submit that into an RFI, your engineer doesn't even have much to do but to put his stamp on it. So that's what I painted the picture with my foreman. I was like, okay, we have a problem. Let's speak it. Now let's make sure we're following QMS, our certified quality management system. Make sure that it's following AISC standards. Make sure it's following AWS. And if anything's different from the code, you know, let me know, and then give me the answer on how to fix it. So to really be able to use that as a tool, not only using it as data, but using the data that's already out there, it's going to be a game changer. My foremans are going to be powerhouses on solutions and problems.
You empower the individual to essentially
Yeah.
you empower the individual to essentially perform tasks that would otherwise require a team to do. So your iron worker who's 350 feet up in the air, dog leash to a beam, connecting a horizontal brace where the holes don't align, and he's there like, either I do it without saying anything, and then they're going to see it, and then I'm going to get shat on, and I lose my. Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing.
It's okay. It's okay.
And then I
No,
get
it's just such a relevant
fired.
example.
You know, let me pull up my phone,
Yeah.
take a picture, be like,
Something like
hey,
that.
I'm on grid line this.
Yeah.
You know, I got this problem at this beam. It's a whole misalignment. The system will just, through your own reasoning, what is your process? How do you deal with this stuff? I know all steel erectors have more or less the same sort of stuff, but maybe you have a way of writing things. You have a way that your engineer wants to see it. You have a way that you want to process information. That'll do it that way. And that'll get pushed directly to the engineer, directly to the project manager, where they can, on the spot, decide and provide you instant feedback of proceed. Now your iron worker who's dog leashed up there didn't have to necessarily go far away. He could have been on the other connection and then can walk right back and get that job done. While everything is tracked, logged, categorized,
Yeah.
and the iron worker himself right there when he's done doing it, yeah, I'm done. Here's a picture. You have the before, you have the after, and you have the log done. And this
Yeah.
is just one simple example, but everything on
I'm
a construction site.
thinking like, oh, what a relief. A world without RFIs. We can just go ahead and execute the work. It'll be
Execute,
all
execute.
beautiful. But I do want to shift gears here a little bit. I know time has absolutely flown by. We're in the last 3 minutes of the discussion. I do want to let our audience know, like, now is the perfect time to ask any questions that you have of our panelists. And then, feel free to drop that into the chat. I do want to share at least one more comment that we got from Kyle. So one AI tool that I'm excited about is drag and drop trade partner bids into the web interface, and AI starts to help level them for you. AI helps with the data entry, and the estimator finishes the art. So I personally relate to this because I had a very short stint in estimating. I severely did not enjoy this process at all. Super tedious, takes a lot of time. You have to really kind of comb through everything over and over and over to get it just the data organization right. So I agree. That is definitely a nice feature to have. Kind of wish, or I kind of wonder really what it would be like to be like a newer project engineer these days with these tools at our fingertips. So thanks for sharing that. So at this point, we're at the last 2 minutes. I do want to ask our panelists, and maybe I will kind of shorten this down, but if you have one word that you would use to describe the future of construction with AI transformations that are occurring, what would that word be? And then also share with our audience how they can get in touch with you if they have a question or want to follow up with you later. So I will first start. I'll kind of go around my screen here. So let's start with Maria.
I was gonna, use everybody else's. No. um, I think the word that I would probably use to describe it would be possibilities. And I think to me that we will no longer need to break down silos, because to me AI is really what allows you to maintain those teams, to maintain, that sort of like family structure of a team that they have together, and really allows you to connect the organization in ways you never imagined. right? And to find, to understand those drop off points and to figure out how to work together, like to be with possibilities of better
Yeah.
organizational.
And then where can people find you, or how do they connect with you?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll drop my email in the chat, but maria@siloin.com or just on LinkedIn.
Awesome. All right. So maybe rapid fire here with the last minute. Victor, one word to describe the future, and where can people reach out to you?
It's kind of impossible to have one word, but I have kind of a concept for it. It's
Okay,
for
couple
us in
words.
construction. For us in construction, we have to get out of the concept of this is how we always have been doing stuff, and start thinking about this is how we're going to win tomorrow.
This
So,
is how we're going to win tomorrow. Oh, I love it. Good, great phrase. Yeah.
so flawless steel. We're front range steel fabricator and erector. You can find me on LinkedIn or my website at fsw-denver.com.
Awesome. And then we'll go next to Ahmed and then Vince. Ahmed, one word for the future, and where can people find you?
I would say sovereignty. You can take control of your data, your workflows, your infrastructure. The time to do that is really now. If you want to reach out and begin your roadmap, we provide a detailed, granular roadmap so you can self-build, and we provide that for free at mytegroup.ai. Register, you'll get an email with everything that you need.
Amazing. Mytegroup.ai. Fantastic. We might need to have like a part two for this discussion. There's just so much to talk about. But last and
Tip of the
certainly not
iceberg. Tip of the
least,
iceberg, Aaron. Yeah.
yeah, tip of the iceberg. So Vince, how about you close this out? One word, and then where can people find you?
I would say transformation, and steelsmainsolutions.com would be my website.
Fantastic. Yeah, transformation, 100%. I feel like we are not going to be out of the transformation phase for a very, very long time. So yeah, change is the only consistent thing we can count on at this point. All right, so I will say thank you to our audience for sharing their thoughts with us and attending. Thank you so much. We hope to see you at the next one. And thank you as well to our fantastic panelists for lending your perspective and your experience. I definitely got some really great insights, and we'll have to revisit some of these discussion points because we barely got through half of the topics that we had. But thank you so much. With that, I'll close this out for today, and we really appreciate everybody's time.
Rock and roll, guys.
Take care.
Rock and roll. Take
Bye.
care.